Hi, in this video I'll show you step by step how you can create a custom drop-down list interaction in Articulate Storyline. Are you ready? Then let's get started.
Let's jump right into the making of our custom drop-down list interaction. I'll start with the base of the drop-down list by adding a shape. Therefore I go to my tab Insert and choose Shape, and I choose a rectangular shape that I draw on my slide here. And now I'll go to the Format tab, where I can adjust the width and the height of the shape. So the width of the shape will be 365 pixels and the height will be 40 pixels. I will center it on my slide. You see that it moves a little bit. And if I click the keys Ctrl and Enter on my keyboard, the Format Shape window will appear. And here I can change the fill color. I'll make it white. The line color, I choose dark gray. And I also want to change the transparency. I'll set it to 30%. And now you don't see the transparency, but when I add a background behind my drop-down list interaction, you'll see that the drop-down list is a little bit transparent. So the next step is to add a background behind it. So I'll add a background behind my drop-down list. I'll go to Insert, choose a shape, and I give it the same dimensions as my page. And I'll drop it below my drop-down list box on my timeline. And now I'll give it a little bit lighter blue. So you see this is my background, and you see my drop-down list here, and you see it has a transparency. So in this example, I'll create a drop-down list interaction. This is a language selection menu. And therefore I go now to the stage panel to create the first state of my drop-down list. So therefore I click on states, and now I'll click on edit states. And what I'll do now is I'll add a text that says select your language, and I'll also add a down arrow so user can see that he can click my drop-down list. So the first thing that I'm now going to do is add a text box. So I go to Insert, select my text box and draw a text here. And now I type the text select your language. I select my text and I make the font size a little bit smaller. 12 is okay. And I will position it. And now the next step is to add my down arrow. I go to Insert, I click on Icons. And now the search icons window opens. So I'll type down arrow. I see an arrow that I want. For instance, this one. I click on Insert, and now Storyline adds it to my window or to my slide. I want to make it a little bit smaller, so I'll hold my Shift key and I drag it so it holds the same dimensions. And now I can position it here a little bit higher. I can do this with my arrow keys on my keyboard, and I give it a gray color, one darker. So, and this is the normal state of my drop-down list interaction. So, and the next step is to create the states for the different languages. So herefore I can copy my normal state. So I click on copy, and I give this the Dutch language. I click on add. Now in this slide I change the text select your language in Dutch, and I'll do this also for the two other languages that I want to add. So you'll see that I now also added a state for English and a state for German. Now I'll click on done editing states. I'll go to the timeline, and I change the name of my rectangle to list box. And now I can move on to the next step. And the next step is to add a slide layer for the unfolded state of my drop-down list interaction. So therefore I'll go to the new slide layer button. I'll create a slide layer and I give it the name a drop down. And on this slide I'll make a rectangle shape that has the same width as my folded drop down list interaction on my base layer. So I'm in the insert tab, go to shape, pick this shape, the rectangular shape, and I'll draw a shape. Now I'll go to format, and the width was 365 pixels, and I also center this, and I give this rectangle the same colors as the folded drop down list interaction on my base layer. So that's white with a 30% transparency. So I'll go to the shape fill, choose white, a gray line, and I'll go to my format shape window to fill in the transparency by clicking Ctrl and Enter on my keyboard. So here I can fill in the transparency on 30%. So the next step is to create buttons for the different language options. So therefore I go to my Insert tab, choose button, and create a button that is the same width as the rectangle. So this is 365 pixels. I'll go to the fill of the button. I'll choose a white fill, and here no outline, and the white fill has to be also get a transparency. So I'll go to my format shape window and I'll choose 30%. So now you can't see that there is a button. So I'll add my text in the button right now. So this button will say Dutch. You don't see the color, so I will change the color from white to a dark gray. This don't has to be bold, and it can also be a smaller font type. Maybe bold is a good idea, and I'll align it to the left. And now I'll go to my format shape window again by clicking Ctrl Enter, and I'll go to text box, and now I'll give the button a left align of 40 pixels. So you'll see that the text is 40 pixels off the left. So because we can add now a language selection icon, for instance a flag. I have the flag icons already on my computer, and I'll add the flags to the normal state. So I'll go to my states panel, I click on edit states. The normal state is selected now. I'll go to insert, choose picture, and here I choose my Dutch flag, and I position it in front of the language. So this is okay, and now I'll copy this one and I'll paste it in the hover down, visited and disabled state. So the first button for the first language selection option is ready. Now I will copy this button, and I will also create the buttons for my English and my German selection option. So my three language selections options are ready right now, and the next step is to create a variable where I can put in which language selection is selected. So then we can change the state of the drop-down list interaction on our base layer. To create a variable, go to your triggers panel and click on the variable manager. And now I'll click on the green plus icon, and I'll create a new variable that I'll call language. This is a text language and it has no default value. Now, if you want to know more about variables, I've put a card in this video to my video where I explain more about variables. For now, let's continue with our drop-down list interaction. Now I'm gonna create some triggers to make this custom list interaction work. So the first trigger will be on button 1, and this will be an adjust variable trigger. Adjust variable, the variable language, and this will be an L when user clicks button 1, and this trigger will be also on the second and the third button. So I'll create this. Only the contents of this triggers are a little bit different. So here will be NL will be UK, and for German this will be DA. And now we create a trigger for each button that changes the state of the folded drop-down list on the base layer. So I'll select button 1 again. I'll go to triggers, choose change state of, and the object is the list box on the base layer, and the state is Dutch when user clicks button 1, because this is the Dutch button. Now, and I will also add this trigger to the English and the German button. And the last triggers that we have to add are close slide layer triggers, because we are working on the slide layer and we want to close this menu when a user has made his choice. So we are creating an hide layer trigger. So I'll go to my triggers, choose hide layer, this layer, because we are in this slide layer when user clicks button 1. And I'll also add this trigger to button 2 and 3. And now we'll need one final trigger to make sure that this drop-down list interaction works. And this trigger is on the base layer under list interaction. So I'll go to my base layer, because when I click this, there won't happen anything. So I select it and I go to triggers and I'll choose a show layer, and the layer is drop down when user clicks on this light box. So now we can preview this drop down list interaction in Storyline. So I'm in preview mode now, and you'll see my folded drop down list. So when I click it, you'll see the layer with the different options, and when I click, for instance, Dutch, you'll see that the layer closes, and now my drop-down list interaction is in Dutch. And now you could, for instance, jump to a scene where you have only Dutch slides of your course, and you click on English, you jump to the scene where you have only English slides for your course, and a scene with German slides for your course. So this is a way to add different languages in one course in Storyline.
Do you want to download the Storyline source file of this drop-down list interaction? Then go to upwardonlinelearning/resources. And I've also put a link to the resource in the description of this video. And if you have any questions about this drop-down list interaction, then leave a comment below this video and I will promise to answer it. If this video was useful to you, then don't forget to hit the subscribe button and the notification icon, so you will be informed every time when I release a new video. Thanks for watching and have a great day. Bye!